All right, I wanna show you this storybook mode we have here in Gemini 2.5 Pro. It's really kind of cool, and it's first time I was using it, and I did a couple, but I just want to share it. So you click on storybook mode, and you have a prompt, and you can upload files just like you do. Add files, import code. You can put code, and then you write a simple um, you saw a simple prompt. So this is already here. This is a sample prompt they have. So let's just click. It says, using Claymation art style, create a storybook about friendly bees and how useful they really are on the earth to help my kids lose their fear. This is just something that the Gemini 2.5 suggested. So let's just take a look at what it does, how it creates, how long it takes. All right. So it's creating the book, and it's pretty fast. It's definitely under usually under a minute, but I don't know if that's going to change. More people use this as this is generating. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other ones we have. Right. Um, so this was one I created. And this was where I started the prompt. So I uploaded this image, and I said, using a Pixar art style, a storybook about a scientist explaining Newton's three laws of motion to a class of eighth graders, and lots of examples that children would be familiar with. That's what I did for my prompt, and then it created the story. So it says, I've created storybook for eighth graders about science explaining Newton's three laws. Okay, so you can see this bees one is about to open now, and it's titled the garden's little helper, probably something like that. Here we go. So this was the one I just pushed. So you could see that was pretty fast. I could hardly even explain the simple prompt and show you the other stuff. So it writes this book. Here's a cover, and then you click on it, and it tells the story of the bee, and you can even just have it read to you. So this is loading.
In a cozy, waxy hive lived a little bee named Buzzy. Today was a very special day. It was his first day as a forager bee, having to help with the whole morning suite. He buzzed with excitement. Arise, older bee named Beatrice landed gently beside him. Her wings hummed.
So you can see that's how nice that is. So we got this. There's the pictures. The pictures look nice. This is all claymation. It's really good. All right. Once again, this was just an example, so how fast it could be. And that's the story. All right. So let's go ahead and close that. And now let's go back, close this up, and go back to what I was talking about before. Okay. So here is that. All I did was upload that picture. All right, using a Pixar story about scientists explaining Newton's law to the class, eighth grade. So I didn't even reference the picture. This was the first prompt I did. I was excited, so I didn't even check the spelling. I didn't reference the prompt or anything. So let's take a look what it did, how it made it. All right, so it did pretty good. All right, it took the picture. The guy is a white jacket, white hair, beard. Professor Axiom's laws of awesome. All right, so let's go ahead.
Professor Axiom's Laws of Awesome. All right, class, boomed a cheerful voice that belonged to Professor Alistair Axiom. His magnificent beard wiggled with excitement. Today we're diving into the amazing, the awesome, the action-packed world of Sir Isaac Newton's three laws of motion. Around the room, a few students slumped in their chairs. Motion? It sounded like another boring lecture. First up, the law of inertia, Professor Axiom declared. He pointed to a soccer ball resting on his desk. An object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion, unless acted upon by an outside force. This ball won't move unless one of you moves it. Maya, care to do the honors? Maya gave the ball a gentle tap with her foot. It rolled across the floor, a perfect example of an object set in motion. See? Said the professor, his voice full of glee. Your kick was the outside force, but what makes it stop? A boy named Leo piped up. The floor? Exactly. Friction from the floor and the air pushing against it are the outside forces that slow it down, Professor Axiom explained. Imagine that ball in deep space. It would just keep going, forever and ever. On to law number 2. Force equals mass times acceleration. F equals ma. He sketched the equation on the board. It just means the more stuff something has, its mass, the more force you need to make it move or accelerate. Think about pushing a shopping cart at the grocery store. An empty cart is easy to zip around the aisles, right? But, he paused for dramatic effect, loaded up with heavy watermelons and that giant bag of dog food, suddenly you need a much bigger push to get it going. More mass needs more force. And now for my favorite, the third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Professor Axiom's eyes twinkled. Think of a rocket blasting off into space. The action is the hot gas pushing down with tremendous force. And the equal and opposite reaction, he asked the class. Maya's hand shot up. The rocket goes up, precisely. Professor Axiom beamed. The gas pushes on the rocket, and the rocket pushes off the gas. Action and reaction. It's the same reason a bouncing ball pushes off the floor. So let's put it all together, said Professor Axiom. Leo, you like to skateboard, right? When you're standing still on your board, that's inertia. When you push off the ground with your foot, that's action and reaction. You accelerate. The harder you push, the faster you go. That's F equals ma. The bell rang, and for the first time, the students didn't rush for the door. They were looking at the world differently. A rolling pen, a closing door, a friend giving a high five. It was all science. It was all motion. And thanks to Professor Axiom, it was all awesome.
All right, so that's a pretty good story. And you know that prompt was like so small. I didn't reference the image, but I put it in there. Somehow the guy changes his shirt through there. You can't, once the story is made, you can't change anything. You have to iterate a new one if you don't like it, and maybe change something on the prompt, or even just run the same prompt a second time. Let's go ahead. Let's try that. I'm gonna close this up and let's take that prompt again. And let's go over here, make sure we're in storybook mode, and throw that prompt in there. All right, so we could use some spell check, and let's change it. A scientist named Mr. Mahalo. All right, so we'll just keep everything the same, and we'll put period there. All right, so we have using a Pixar art style, a storybook about a scientist named Mr. Mahalo explaining Newton's 3 laws of motion to a class of 8th grade students, and lots of examples, or add lots of examples that the children will be familiar with. So we go ahead, and it's going to run this, and we'll let that run for a while it runs. So now let's look at the next one we did. So this is the second one I did. So I used ChatGPT to write a larger prompt. It says, create a 10-page storybook in Claymation that has a wise owl that explains Einstein's general relativity to 8th graders using words that they would understand. Include narration, simple text, and illustrations matching that style. All right, so there we go. So here it is, Professor Hoot's Cosmic Trampoline. So this is Claymation. It's a little owl. Open it up. There's a little owl, and let's go ahead. And here's something in a cozy Claymation forest. So probably this, including narration, matching that style. I think with the narration that ChatGPT gave me, that kind of threw it in there that the style Claymation has to be throughout the story. So once again, I could take that out and reiterate that. So let's go ahead and listen.
Professor Hoot's Cosmic Trampoline. In a cozy Claymation forest, under a sky swirling with painted stars, lived a very wise old owl named Professor Hoot. He knew all the secrets of the universe, from the tiniest atom to the biggest black hole. One evening, a group of curious 8th graders, molded from colorful clay, gathered beneath his branch. Professor Hoot asked a girl named Maya, "What is this general relativity thing we're learning about? It sounds so heavy." Professor Hoot chuckled, a soft, rumbling sound. "A very good question, Maya. Imagine the universe is like a giant, stretchy trampoline. This is what we call space-time. Now, if you place a heavy bowling ball in the middle of the trampoline, what happens?" he asked. A boy named Leo piped up, "It makes a big dip." "Exactly," hooted the professor. "That bowling ball is like a planet or a star. Its mass, or how much stuff it's made of, creates a curve in space-time. The bigger the object, the deeper the curve." "So what about gravity?" asked another student, Chloe. "Is it like a rope pulling things down?" "Not quite, Chloe," said Professor Hoot. "Now, imagine rolling a smaller marble around the edge of the dip made by the bowling ball. It doesn't fall straight in, does it? It circles around the curve. That's what gravity is. It's not a mysterious force pulling things. It's simply objects following the curves in space-time created by other, more massive objects. The Earth orbits the Sun because it's following the giant curve the Sun makes in space-time." The students' clay faces lit up with understanding. "So gravity is just geometry?" asked Leo. "The shape of space itself?" Professor Hoot beamed. "Precisely. You've grasped the heart of Einstein's brilliant idea. The universe is a grand cosmic dance, and everything is just following the curves. Now, who's ready for some hot cocoa?" The students cheered, their minds buzzing with the new, wonderfully weird way they saw the world.
What I love about this, I love the illustrations, especially all the references to the bowling ball and the trampoline and the dip that it makes. And like I said, I can't change anything for this, but being knowing what I know, I can copy these images and I could write these words and I could turn this into a small animation using these same images. So what's nice about it is I could use these images to create an animation because they look good. Right? They're this character here that you start with is the same in the young ladies. These are the same characters throughout the story. They have the same look. So I can copy these images and I could create my, take this story that it has, change the wording, get rid of this lit up their clay faces and stuff like that. And I could create an animation using some of the other ones like Hedra AI, or even Leonardo or Kling AI. All these things. I could make short animations and add the voices and have the people talk and have them lip synced, and that would be really cool. And I could expand that story using that type of artificial intelligence software. So you could see though, so far the simplest prompt has been the best. So let's take a look at here we go. So this one. So now I'll show you this one. So in this one, I uploaded an image, and I said rubber hose style, and it is kind of it's a little sillier. It isn't like the old original Disney rubber hose style like the image. So I uploaded an image, and I said use this image. Here we go. Uh, create Create a storybook for a 12-year-old that explains the properties of waves using information in the attached document. So this, if you ever saw my waves, property of waves animated presentation, that's Pixar style on YouTube. uh, then I use the same script that I used for that. So all the words for that presentation, that animated presentation, Pixar-style animated presentation, that's the script. I uploaded it. I said, create a storybook for a 12-year-old that explains the property of waves using information in the attached document. Use the uploaded cartoon image for the main character, who is a happy scientist named Mr. Mahalo. Have Mr. Mahalo demonstrate with simple things that the children are familiar with to explain the properties of waves to a class of eighth graders. Make the illustration style whimsical and bright rubber hose cartoon style. All right, so here's our book. Let's go ahead and see what it says.
Mr. Mahalo's Wacky Wave Workshop. Aloha, future scientists, boomed a cheerful voice. It was Mr. Mahalo, the science teacher with a beard as big as his smile. He stood before his 8th grade class, his eyes twinkling with excitement. Today, we're going on an adventure into the invisible world of waves. They're all around us, carrying the music we love and the light we see. So what exactly is a wave? Mr. Mahalo grabbed a long, coiled spring. A slinky, Nina's from his desk. Imagine this slinky is a pond of still water, he said, stretching it out. If I give it a little shake, what happens? He gave his end of the slinky a quick up and down flick. A ripple of energy traveled all the way to the other end. See that? The slinky itself didn't travel across the room, but the energy did. That's what waves do. They're energy movers. Now, let's talk about the 2 main types of waves, Mr. Mahalo continued, his voice full of energy. First, we have mechanical waves. Think of them as the touchy-feely waves. He picked up a drum and gave it a gentle tap. The sound you hear is a mechanical wave. It needs something to travel through, like the air in this room. The vibrations from the drum head bump into air particles, which bump into more air particles, all the way to your ears. But what about in space, where there's no air? Mr. Mahalo asked, a twinkle in his eye. That's where our second type of wave comes in, electromagnetic waves. These are the superstars of the wave world. They don't need anything to travel through. Light from the sun is an electromagnetic wave, and it travels millions of miles through empty space to reach us. Mr. Mahalo picked up the slinky again. Now for the fun part, how waves move. Some waves, called transverse waves, move like this. He shook the slinky up and down, creating a series of beautiful, flowing curves. The wave moves forward, but the slinky itself just goes up and down. It's like doing the wave at a baseball game. Other waves, called longitudinal waves, are a bit different, he said, turning the slinky so it was pointed towards the class. For these, the movement is back and forth. He gave the slinky a push, and a compression, a bunched-up section of coils shot down its length. Sound waves are longitudinal waves. They're a series of pushes and pulls in the air. Mr. Mahalo drew a big, loopy wave on the whiteboard. Every wave has a few key parts, he explained. The highest point is called the crest, and the lowest point is the trough. He pointed to the top and bottom of his drawing. The distance from the middle line to the crest is the amplitude. A bigger amplitude means more energy. A loud sound has a big amplitude, and a soft sound has a small one. Next up is wavelength, Mr. Mahalo said, drawing a line between 2 crests on his wave diagram. That's the distance from one crest to the next. And frequency is how many waves pass by in 1 second. A high-pitched sound has a high frequency, and a low-pitched sound has a low frequency. Now let's put it all together, Mr. Mahalo exclaimed. The speed of a wave is its frequency multiplied by its wavelength. So a wave with a high frequency and a long wavelength will be a super-fast wave. He zipped his hand through the air to demonstrate. So you see, Mr. Mahalo concluded, his smile wider than ever, waves are everywhere, from the sound of my voice to the light from that lamp. They're the secret messengers of our universe, carrying energy and information all around us. And now, you know their language. The class erupted in applause. their minds buzzing with the wonderful world of waves.
So I think this story, you can see there is some of this like rubber hose style going on here. It's close. It has a specific style in the whole story, but there are obviously like, why is there always a green chalkboard and now there's a whiteboard? And here he has a piece of paper and it didn't spell it so good there. Um, and here he's got that chalkboard. He's always got something in front of it. And I also think that if you use something like a wave, uh, I uploaded text, so um, the computer obviously interprets a wave, and it's thinking all types of waves, like water waves. Someone said I was surfing a wave, right? That would just be that word. So I think this works better with words that don't have multiple meanings, if that's the title of it. And I think it works a lot better with you know, it's not going to take this information. There was a lot of information in the script, and it kind of makes it clunky because it's trying to fit that information, and it only will get a little bit of the information. It doesn't duplicate the information. So I think if I was to use this for science classes, I would keep it simple, and use like when I said before, Newton's three laws. Okay, so that would be if I was to say these are Newton's three laws. It would only be one PowerPoint slide. So when you talk about it, like I would say, like give me a story about velocity or acceleration. So I would actually kind of use one word to describe it and let it just go by itself, or forces or friction. Um, that would be really good for stories because it would help people with their vocabulary. The AI would write the story itself, and then it would be a better story. As you see, like I talk about my words, it says Einstein's theory of relativity. It's something that's simple. I'm not trying to say, oh, write about this, 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 write about this. I'm just giving it one topic, and that's how AI works its best. Is that if you say something like, oh, just explain relativity like a fifth grader or a kindergarten kid or something like that, write a story, and then it can expand all the words around it to explain that story better and fill out the story and make the story more vibrant and more like a real story. So we have our last one here, and this is the one we just had it run, and this is completed here. So here we go. I remember I just had him named Mr. Mahalo. So here, just because he has the name Mahalo, which has a meaning, gratitude in Hawaiian, uh, he is now a Hawaiian. So there's a little bit of a stereotype going on there. So you want to make sure that you use words like, sure, an owl named Mr. Hoots, but that's okay. I wear Hawaiian shirts. I just don't. I don't have crazy hair like that. So let's go ahead. I never saw this story before. Remember, this was the same story of Newton's three laws. I just changed the name of it. It said using a Pixar style of storybook about a scientist named Mr. Mahalo. The only thing I changed about it was the name, Mr. Mahalo. All right, so everything else was the same, and now we'll see how this one turns out.
Mr. Mahalo's magnificent motion machine. In a classroom buzzing with the energy of curious eighth graders, a man with a wild shock of white hair and a colorful Hawaiian shirt bounced on the balls of his feet. Aloha, future scientists, he boomed. I'm Mr. Mahalo, and today we're going to talk about the man who figured out why things move, the one and only Sir Isaac Newton. Newton's first law is all about being lazy. Mr. Mahalo chuckled. An object at rest wants to stay at rest. Think about a soccer ball sitting in the middle of a field. It's not going anywhere until someone gives it a kick, right? A student named Maya in the front row nodded thoughtfully. And once that ball is moving, Mr. Mahalo continued, it wants to keep moving. It'll roll and roll until something stops it, like the friction of the grass or the goalie's lucky catch. Now for law number 2, Mr. Mahalo said, rubbing his hands together. This one is all about force, mass, and acceleration. It sounds complicated, but it's as simple as pushing a shopping cart. If you have an empty cart, a little push sends it flying, right? That's a little mass and a lot of acceleration. But what if the cart is full of heavy watermelons? A student named Ben's eyes widened. You have to push way harder to get it moving. Exactly. More mass means you need more force to get the same acceleration, Mr. Mahalo declared. And now, for the grand finale, Newton's third law. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Think about a rocket, Mr. Mahalo said, his voice full of excitement. The rocket pushes hot gas down with a powerful force. That's the action. And the reaction? The gas pushes the rocket up, up, up into the sky. Maya's hand shot up. So when I'm on my skateboard and I push off a wall, Mr. Mahalo pointed at her. The action is you pushing on the wall. And the reaction is the wall pushing you and your skateboard in the opposite direction. You've got it, Mr. Mahalo beamed. From a soccer ball to a shopping cart to a rocket ship, Newton's laws are working all around you, all the time. Ben looked at his own hands, flexing his fingers as if feeling the forces for the first time. The final bell rang, but instead of a mad dash for the door, the students walked out talking about action and reaction. They were all looking at the world a little differently, seeing the magnificent motion machine that was all around them, all thanks to Mr. Mahalo.
All right, so this one is a little bit goofy. All right, first of all, this kid, I don't know what's wrong with him. He must have been in the bathroom doing something, and she looks a little upset. So she doesn't look like she had a good time in class. These pictures are there's images like the kid's turned around while he's behind him. I like the room and the posters on the walls though. Those look nice. I like this image a lot. And I love this image right here. I think that's awesome. I'd love to take this image and turn it into an animation because it's such a great image. This guy, that image isn't so bad, but this guy is goofy. His hair is different all the time. See, here's another one of those pictures. It's like, what is he doing? Why is this kid staring at the wall like that? Why are these kids not looking at the teacher as he's talking? They're just sitting there. This is a little wacky, this ball. This is a good picture. I like that. This is insane. I don't know what this guy's doing. His hair. He looks like Mr. Heatmiser from the old um, Christmas movies. Who is it? Santa Claus coming to town. This picture is nice. I don't mind that. He's got an apple in the air. It looks like it's levitating. I love the posters. This picture is really nice. But the story is a little wacky. So it's crazy how just changing, having this giving a name to this person has kind of messed up that. But once again, I could just click it again and reiterate it, and maybe the next time it'll be different. It'll be better. I don't use any tokens for this, so I could just push it until I see something. I could keep the same prompt and just keep pushing the thing. Something else that really freaked me out was right here uh, being lazy. Any of my students will know that I go with Paul Hewitt. Usually said he used to say in his presentations, inertia is Italian for lazy. To be inert, just to sit there. And I always said that. When I talked about inertia. I said inertia is Italian for lazy over and over again. It just sits there. And if it's moving, it's too lazy to stop moving. And it's funny that it put it in there. I didn't know that was such a common phrase that inertia means lazy. I thought it was something that I caught in Paul Hewitt uh, presentation, and it just stuck in my head because I laughed about it and just kept saying it over the years. But it's funny because obviously now the other guy didn't say it, but this is Mr. Mahalo. That's me, and he used the line that I use in my and I don't know how that happened. It just be coincidence, but it's kind of it's freaking me out a little bit. So whatever. So anyways, this is storybook mode in Google Pro 2.5. and it's really cool. I just started using it just a couple seconds ago or a couple minutes ago, like a half hour ago. Just found out about it, and I love it. Obviously, it's just like when you do anything else with AI. You have to have different iterations of it because you'll never get what you want the first time. But I'm satisfied because I look at these stories and I think to myself, oh, I could just copy these images here and change the words, and I could create my own stories. Even though this has a storybook, the ones that didn't come out so well, I can still copy and paste those pictures, download them. Just use a screen what's it called, capture to capture that area, and then I could upload them to other AIs and turn them into animations and to have an animated story where there's character consistency. Okay, and I love this picture. I definitely am going to try and download this picture and create a. You probably use Kling AI to create, or maybe I'll do it with the VEO3 and try that out. But that I would love to have this animated and then use this as like a just like it is a storybook page. Okay, that this is happening. This could be in the other story. So this picture, I could go back to what's this guy's name? He was called something goofy. I don't know where he went. What was that story? Hoot, Wacky, Gardner Bees. It wasn't that. So I don't know what happened to that story. I'll have to look at that. But let's go ahead and you go ahead and experiment yourself and have fun. Have a great day.